Big topic of debate in the home service industry is, should you charge your clients or potential clients for an estimate? Personally, we charge for our estimates, and I think everyone should charge for their estimates. I'm Nick Sanborn, owner of Sanborn Construction, 8-figure construction company in the Metro Detroit area, and I'm going to walk you through why I think you should be charging for your estimates. We have two different sides to our business. We have our large-scale construction, which is, full-scale renovations, new construction, taking apartment buildings and, rebuilding a whole apartment building, large scale. We also have our small scale, which is the maintenance side. So on the maintenance side, it's more of your handyman type tasks, right? Tenant's toilet broke, or the tenant's kitchen cabinet broke, or the tenant's light's not working, go replace the light, that kind of stuff. Now, in both sides of the business, we charge for an estimate. Why is that? The estimator is going to have to, whether it's a single family home or it's 40 units, the estimator is going to have to measure out all of the rooms, all of the units, all of the window sizes, all of the size of the roof with the pitch and the angle, how many square is it. That takes quite a bit of effort. Now, on top of that, they're also going to have to check how much are shingles, how much are cabinets, how much are toilets, how much are vanities. Now, most of that stuff is standard, but there is some fluctuation, right? This month, toilets could be $99. Next month, toilets could be $89. If we're rebuilding and reframing and everything else during COVID, lumber spiked like crazy. So who's going to do that? For us, it's the estimator. If you're a smaller company, you're probably going to do it yourself. If you're a one-man army, you're definitely going to do it yourself. And to me, that is a valuable service in itself, because if I hand you this estimate and I say, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,100 square foot, it's getting a new kitchen, all new flooring, new paint job, new drywall, new doors, new lights, new light fixtures, new bathroom, vanity, toilet, shower, we're going to put a tile backsplash, quartz countertops, we're going to dry lock the basement, we're going to demo, we're going to do this, that, put the whole place back together. We got to put siding on the outside. We're going to replace the roof. When we replace the roof, we got to do the decking and we got to do some of the framing because the wood's rotted. You've got to make sure that you're accurate on your material and labor pricing, right? Because if you say, I can do all the electrical for $12,000 and then you talk to an electrician afterwards, now we have our own, but let's say you talk to the electrician you plan to hire afterwards and they say, ooh, this is a $15,000 job. You just lost money on the electrical, right? Not a good thing, because I could turn this estimate over to you, even if it's a single family house, right? It might take me 3-4 hours, but I could turn this estimate over to you, and then you just go show it to the next 5 contractors, and each one of them is going to knock $1,000 off, hoping they can get the job, right? And if you're going to do all that work for free, nobody, that's a pretty hard pill to swallow. After you spend a week doing 5 or 6 different estimates, not a single one comes through because they shopped every single one of them. But if you're bidding a single family home, they're going to check you against other people. So if you put 5 hours into that estimate because you're newer and it took you just some time to research and yada yada, and then they didn't hire you, you're going to be pretty upset. You wasted your time, you wasted a lot of effort, and then they ghosted you. So having them not ghost you in sales and everything else is a different video. But you put that time, you put that effort in, you need to charge for that. So if you are looking at, let's say, a single family house, 3-4 bedroom, under 2,000 square feet, like a standard single family house, that we charge $250 to write up the estimate. Now, if it's over $500, we send an estimate. For maintenance, we charge $75 for that estimate fee. Because again, even if it was we need to replace the toilet, we need to fix the flange, we need to replace the wax ring, and it needs a new water line, it still took time, it still took expertise, it still took knowledge to understand what you even had to fix. Somebody had to write up all the things that need to be fixed. Somebody had to put all the pricing in there, an estimator or an admin, depending on how large the scope is. Even for maintenance, for small issues, even if you're just replacing somebody's driveway, you still had to go out there, you had to measure the driveway, you had to check the price of concrete, what time of year is it. When it gets colder, the concrete's more expensive than when it's warmer because there's different additives in it, right? You had to verify if you're pouring something in September or October, the concrete price is much different than April. And you had to verify that, right? You had to go out there and measure it, see how much concrete you needed. You have to see how deep the current thing is. It might be deeper than standard. It might be more shallow than standard, which means you might have to do some groundwork too. All of that is a part of estimating, and all of that takes time, and all that takes effort. We've had no pushback at $75 as an estimate. We've also had no pushback at $250 plus for the larger things, again, depending how large it is. Whether you want to credit that back or not is up to you. On the large scale projects, we do not credit that back, even if you go forward with us. It's just, this is the cost. This is a very time consuming, intense thing that we're going to do to put this whole scope and list together for you. So you're just going to pay for that service regardless. Now, on maintenance, if you go forward with the job, because it's usually pretty quick approval when you're dealing with property managers and things, or homeowners who just want the stuff done. It's a pretty quick approval process. If you go forward with that, we credit that back to you, right? And then we just take it off the invoice at the end. So the other reason I think people need to pay for your estimate is because if they're paying for something, they tend to value it more and they take it more seriously, right? If as soon as you call me, I'm like, hey, Nick from Sanborn Construction. Oh, you need a driveway? I'll run out there right now, drop everything and meet you. They're going to think you're not busy. They're going to think you're sitting around not doing anything. We have estimators on staff, right? Even they are not available to just drop everything. They're usually scheduled out in advance, right? Well in advance, especially in the busy season. If you just run out there for free and write up the estimate real quick, hoping that they're going to give you the job, they're probably not going to value you, your estimate, or your time that highly because you were so willing to just give it up so easily, so freely. Oh, I'm desperate. I need the job. I'm going to run out and do it right now. It's not a good way to set yourself up for future success. It's one thing if you're really starving and you really need this job and you really need to get out there and get it. Do your thing. Do what you need to do to get by. But assuming you're not in that struggling, starving position, oh, hey, it's Nick from Sanborn Construction. Oh, you want a driveway? Okay. $75 estimate fee. We'll send an estimator out there Tuesday at 8 a.m. They can meet you there, talk you through the project, measure it all out, and get an estimate back to you. Does that sound good? $75? Yeah, but we'll credit it back to you if you go forward with us. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds all right. I'll see you Tuesday at 8, right? It's that easy. When I go meet with my lawyer, it's $400 an hour, right? Whether we sit there and shoot the shit or we sit there and talk about, anything that's happening in the business. Hey, I need this document for this thing signed. What does that look like? Hey, I want to buy this house. Can you drop the agreement, right? Whatever it is, the attorney's going to charge for that. I'm a realtor. I could just as easily write a purchase agreement, right? But if it's a more convoluted or a larger, type of purchase with multiple players and multiple levels to it, it's easier to give it to the attorney and just trust his expertise and his knowledge, right? And I pay for that, just like they should pay you for your expertise and your knowledge, plus your effort of writing it. So it's a pretty widely debated topic. There's really two camps. A lot of people think, I don't need to charge for an estimate because I go out there, I'm going to get the job. If I tell them there's a fee, they're not going to want me to come out there, blah, blah, blah. And then the other camp is I charge for my estimates because it's a valuable service. I value my time. I value my crew, this, that, and the other. I agree with that person. The other person, like I said, who's like, I'm not going to charge. I want the job. I need to go out there. They're not going to say yes if I tell them there's an estimate fee. Chances are you probably don't want to work with that person in the first place. If they're not willing to pay you for your time, your expertise, your knowledge, all that up front, it's probably not going to be a great client, right? They're probably going to be difficult to deal with. They're probably going to be price shopping, so they're just going to take your number and shop it to 4 other people and cut the price as much as they can anyway. And then at the end, after they've beaten everybody up and got the lowest price possible, they're going to realize they got bad work done, and then they're going to complain to the guy that finally took, the 5th guy in line that took the cheapest price. And then they're going to complain to him that it's not great work and they're not going to pay for it and da-da-da. I mean, it's just not a client you want to work with anyway, right? If you're willing to pay $250 for me to tell you everything this house needs to get it back in shape, you're probably a reasonable client. If you think it's reasonable for me or my estimator or whoever to walk through this whole project and tell you everything, put the whole list, scope, pricing together, and you don't want to pay for that, you're probably just not a reasonable person and not someone we want to work with anyway, right? That's why I think you should charge for estimate fees. We do ourselves. If you want to see another video in this educational series that we're putting together, click right here.